Welcome to the show, Mary Jane. I appreciate it.
That's okay. Thank you for asking.
And you're all the way in wonderful Australia.
Yes, away in Adelaide.
And it's morning for you and it's night for me.
Uh, yeah, it's like 8:40 in the morning here.
Yep. That's so funny to me.
I
Now,
love it.
how much clean time do you have?
I'm 6 months as of like 2 days ago.
Congratulations on 6 months.
Thank you.
Is that the most time you've ever had?
Yeah, kind of. Over the last like 12 years, the only time I'd been clean is when I was pregnant. So I was clean whilst pregnant, and then as soon as I had my kids, I picked up again. So this is my first time clean, like on my own will.
Oh, okay. So why did you stop this time?
So I pretty much hit rock bottom, and I ended up in jail. Um, and yeah, that sort of is where it all began. Um, yeah, that horrible moment of being arrested and realizing I was at rock bottom and realizing that, I just nothing I was doing in my life was good for me or for my kids, and I had to change.
So can I ask like what happened when you got arrested? Like what did you have drugs on you? What were you doing?
So, thankfully, in a way, over the last 12 years, I, had been ongoing selling drugs. And having two kids in my care, I'm so thankful that, that isn't what ended up getting me arrested, because I definitely would have lost care of my kids. At the time, I was so down and depressed, and I was so sad, and not that this is an excuse, but, my drug use led me to do some really disgusting behavior. And I started, I just had no excitement or happiness in my life. And, I started doing things that were bringing adrenaline to my life, but in the wrong areas. One morning I really disgustingly, I broke in the house across the road from my own house. And it breaks my heart because, like, at the end of the day, like, my kids were home with me with a friend, they were asleep, and, mum's just off breaking in the house across the road, and one of the neighbors seen it, and called the police, and I was arrested inside the house. My kids woke up to the house being raided, mum being arrested, and yeah, it was a pretty awful situation. And I most people that don't have a criminal history normally would get bail. And I didn't. I didn't get bail, and I went to jail, and it took me a couple of weeks to be able to get home D bail. So I'm still on home D bail now, which is coming off soon. But yeah, that's sort of what led me to, hit rock bottom. I just remember being in the watch house, and that's where you go before they say, you're going to go to jail or not. And I remember just being on the watch house floor, literally just on the floor praying, crying. I really hit rock bottom, and I just prayed to my higher power. I never prayed before this, I never was the sort to, I really was at rock bottom, and I prayed my little heart out, and I said, God, please just help me get through this, help me get back with my kids, and I didn't get bail. And I was sort of like, okay, clearly there's no higher power in my life, and at the time I was pretty devastated. And then, as the weeks went on, every week I was just praying my heart out, and I kept saying, please just help me get out of this. Please help me get out of this. And it's not till now that I realized that my higher power was so there. If I fucking got left out, if I got put out on if I got put out on bail that day, I wouldn't have got clean. I needed to go to jail to detox. I needed to stay in jail to stay in there long enough to cut ties with all the people outside. I needed to be in there enough to get a fucking reality check. Sorry for my swearing.
No,
Reality
you
check.
can curse as much as you want. You're okay.
I needed to stay in there to get a reality check, and just over those couple of weeks of being in there, I realized that I can do this. Like, it's pretty sad that when I went to jail, my life was so chaotic and so unmanageable that when I went to jail, it was so homey. And I know it probably makes no sense, but like just having that structure, routine, daily foods, it was so homey, and it was so easy to detox in there. You know, I tried
That's why
detox centers.
rehabs. That's why
Yeah,
rehabs, like, it's the same thing, You have
yeah, but
self-care, you have to, make sure your shit's clean, make sure you get a shower, brush your teeth.
exactly. And you know, like the only thing that really worked for me is, like, I'd done detox centers before, but they weren't long enough. This place, I had to stay there. And on like at detox centers and stuff, you still got the computer, you still got internet, and that did not help in my favor when I went to a detox center.
No, yeah, I never had. When I went to rehab, we didn't even have our phones. We had to turn that shit in. We could look at our phones for a half an hour twice a day, and like
Wow.
with supervision, and we couldn't
Yeah.
text. We had to only scroll. Like if they saw us texting, it was a problem. Like you
Oh,
had to just be
really?
scrolling. Yeah, they were watching us too. Yeah.
Yeah, well, see, it was so different in the detox center here, and I still, even at the detox center here, I remember contacting someone and saying, okay, I need to stay here, but I can't do this. How about if you go buy a packet of chips, put some drugs in the chips for me, and a pipe and a lighter, and then we're going to seal the top with, one of those, those things that you can seal things with,
Yeah,
to
yeah.
reseal it. And I said, can you fucking bring it to the front desk and just say you got some munchies for me, to bring it into the detox center, like, that's how my detox center, that's how my experience went. It wasn't a very helpful situation for me. So when I
There's
went to
some
jail,
rehabs. I have heard of people in rehabs though that were able to use their phones in rehabs, and I'm just like, really? Like that's not. That seems like
yeah,
really counterproductive.
yeah, it's like, what's the point of going,
Yeah.
So when I went to jail, that really helped me with that. It really cut off you know, there was no way in hell I was going to be using, and it was the perfect amount of time. And, I'm blessed to be out on bail on home D as well, because I think that's another God job. I see it as a God job because, it's helped me get through these 6 months clean. And in about a week's time, I'm coming off home detention. So, that's going to be the next tester for me. But I think, over the last few months, I've been given the life skills and I understand how to cope with my recovery now. I have things in place where I feel more confident that I won't relapse. So I feel like everything really has happened for a reason for me.
Well, was your drug of choice when you were out there like heroin,
Nah, so it was meth and coke.
meth, and coke? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I after using for so long, just the gear wasn't really doing it. So I was still using it, but then, every morning I was waking up having lines of coke, it's just disgusting behavior. Like, I just,
When did it start? When did the behavior start? Like, how old were you?
so I was about 15 years old. I started, just dipping in with pills and, experimenting with that sort of stuff. And then, my first ever partner, he actually passed away. And, that was in the mix of using pills and stuff and just being at such a young age and not having those life skills, not knowing how to deal with that situation. I started using pills more and it increased. And then, by the age of like 17, I was heavily using and selling gear, mixing around with bikies. And, it went from just started off with pills and then went to extreme in such a quick amount of time.
When you say mix it with bike, is that like bikers? Is that what you call like biker gangs?
Yeah, yeah.
And
So
are they the ones that like have the meth or in your country too?
yeah. So,
Yeah, same here.
so I pretty much had like, the amount of supply I needed, and it just was a really, really rough crowd to sort of get involved in at such a young age.
When did that boyfriend die?
When I was 15.
Oh, so you had started seeing him, and then did he overdose like with you?
So he actually had an asthma attack.
Was
Yeah.
that correlated or no? Is that just freak accident?
I think just freak accident. It hasn't really been said yet.
Oh, okay, but
Yeah.
that was that your first time dealing with like grief in your life, like
Yeah.
real grief.
Yeah, I never had anybody really pass away that was that close to me at that point. Yeah, it was a horrible experience to go through.
Oh, I know.
Especially at such a age.
Yeah.
It's your first ever love, like when it's your first love, and any sort of separation's hard, but when they're literally just taken from you, I don't think anyone really knows how to cope with that.
Now, did you see addiction at all growing up?
Pardon?
Did you see addiction at all growing up?
No way. Nah, my parents are straight 180s. Never had that around me. Yeah, none at all.
Okay, and do you have any siblings?
Yeah, so my dad has a few kids. So I didn't really have anything to do with them. Yeah, I live with my mum and my stepdad. And was pretty much just raised as an only child. It wasn't until I was like 18, when my drug use had just gotten that bad. My stepsister was like, my half sister was like, "I'm coming to get you. What are you doing with your life?" And she literally drove into a different state, drove down, picked me up, and like brought me back to her house. And that's when I first tried to get clean, and that's when I fell pregnant with my eldest daughter.
Did you already know you were pregnant when your sister came and got you?
No, not so. I literally was like clean for a week, and then I met this guy and I fell pregnant. Um,
I like that
yeah.
you guys say fell pregnant. I haven't heard that expression. It must be an Australian thing. Like fell pregnant. It's like I fell over. I'm pregnant.
You could say that. Yeah, no, we fell pregnant. We fell pregnant. So, I was only 18, and it was really hard because, just getting off the drugs, being so young, having these pregnancy hormones, it was really like I didn't really deal with my addiction. I just felt pregnant. So I just got clean.
So you were clean those 9 months.
Yeah, well, she came early, so yeah, I was clean for about 6 to 9 months. Yeah, and it didn't take me long after that until I picked up again. Yeah,
What do you
but it
what do
didn't.
you mean by not long after that? Like months or years? Days?
Uh, Months, yeah, a couple of months after that. After because I breastfed for a while and stuff like that, and then after I finished breastfeeding, it didn't go every day again, but when the guy I was with at the time, didn't know about it on weekends and stuff. When I'd go out, I would pick up on weekends, and it was just like a closety thing for a while, and then then we separated, and when we separated, I went like full tilt again. Um, and then like we had just like a one night thing, and I fell pregnant again. Um, yeah, fell pregnant.
You gotta watch these
So,
stairs. You
I
keep
know,
falling.
I know. Yeah, I fell pregnant with my son, and then yeah, so I had that pregnancy. We tried to make it work. I stayed clean throughout his pregnancy again, and then yeah, we separated again. Um, and then like we had this massive hailstorm come through our town and wipe pretty much our whole entire town out, really. And this guy that came down to repair my roof, he literally fell through my roof. And like as he fell through my roof, he fell through my roof with a $90,000 debt. And this guy, I just fell head over heels for him. I saw a future with him, and he owed all this money. And I said, well, I don't want to put myself and my kids at that risk, so let's just put us at the risk of selling more drugs to get rid of that debt, which was the worst thing I ever done in my life. Before that I was just dibbling and dabbling with drugs, but then I went full tilt back into the same sort of scene again. And that led us to be home invaded. My daughter was quite traumatized with that. There was guns involved, and that was a really hard experience to deal with.
Wait, hey, let's not skip over that real fast. You got home invaded by the police?
No, by other people. Yeah, just some junkies that were in the town, and yeah, yeah, they came in with guns, and it was really, really traumatizing. They were quite brutal about everything, so that was really hard to deal with. It sucks that happened.
Did you give them the drugs?
Yeah, I gave them everything. I gave them all the money. I gave them all the drugs. I said, just take it.
Well,
I don't care.
how do you remember how much it was?
There was only about 3 or 4 ounces, and I think about maybe $6,000.
I mean, still, that's a lot, though. I mean,
yeah,
3 or 4 ounces, still, that's it's some money right there.
Yeah, well,
I mean, I don't know what your street prices are in Australia, but I'm pretty sure somebody told me that it's like $60 a gram on average. Like,
it's about $10,500 for an ounce here. So almost 11 grand for an ounce at the moment, apparently. So
wow.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of money that got taken,
Yeah, but at the time I was like, I didn't care about the money.
Yeah, you have kids.
Yeah. I just wanted my daughter out of the situation so badly. It was it was quite hard on her and me. And, you know, you think something like that, though, would push you to stop using. But, you know, after all those years of not dealing with my own emotions and not dealing with life experiences, it just led me to use more. You know, I couldn't cope with the situation.
You had nothing to, you had no kind of, foundation to deal with it.
Yeah. So I literally just like using that. You know, and then after that, things just got pretty crazy. You know, the relationships with that person got really abusive. We got raided by the police. You know, and I'm thankful that there was nothing in the house at the time. Yeah, so it did get pretty bad, and then I ended up, after about a year of that relationship, you know, and things just getting so bad, the police getting so involved in our life and stuff like that, you know, I was at a point where I just wanted to stop. So, you know, I thought packing up and moving back to the town where I originally came from would be the answers to stopping, you know, and that's where it all began. So I don't know what I was thinking there. But, you know, I thought going back to my family, going back to my mum, you know, having that support might help. You know, so I moved back to Adelaide and, you know, it did for a couple months, maybe like 2 or 3 months, you know, I tried to stop that scene and, yeah, that fucked up. Yeah, as you know, I think we all probably know it would have, you know, going back to the town where it began, was pretty silly.
Now, did you look like you were like addicted to drugs at the time? Because like right now, I'm looking at you like, you know, you look like you're sober. You know what I mean? But
I was literally like skin bones, Walking Dead, grey skin. Yeah, I will have to show you a before and after photo, I think, because I think I was 38 kilos.
What is that? I'm not, you know, I'm American, so we have no idea what that means.
I have no idea how to. I don't know. But like, so I put it this way: I'm like 54 kilos now, and I was 38 kilos then.
Okay. Wow.
So yeah. So
Wait,
like
I know. I gotta do this.
Yeah.
I talked to a girl the other day that was down to 70 pounds. Before she got sober. You were 83 pounds. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's what that is. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So I was 30 around 38 kilos.
It's probably gonna be similar. Wait, where is it? I'll put it up here. Where is it? Here it is. Yeah.
Yeah, very similar. Yeah.
Yeah, if you could send it over and then I'll have it pop up.
Yeah,
into the episode, because the before and afters always seem to get more views because people are like, "What in the?"
Yeah, it's such a different.
Yeah.
I was literally so sick. You know, like I was so tired. I was so exhausted. You know, I was just making sloppy mistakes as a parent, as a person. You know, my kids, like I was just so exhausted. You know, it's so stupid. Like I would stay up all night. I would be awake all morning. And still couldn't get my kids to school on time. You know, like I just like.
There was no concept of time though, probably.
No, you know, there wasn't. Like I would be up all night and all morning, and I'd have my kids up at 7 o'clock, but my kids still wouldn't be going to school until like 10 or 11 o'clock in the morning. You know, like it was just and you know, now the thought of that, like just the other day I had a bit of a situation, you know, and my daughter was having her first play date. You know, and for me, that was a really big thing because I've never been a parent where, you know, I should be left with my own kids, let alone other kids. So for the fact that, you know, this mum was trusting me, you know, her daughter was coming over for a play. I was so excited. My daughter just wanted it to go so perfectly, you know, and it's about half an hour before I have to get the kids from school. And I realized I left my car key in my mum's car, you know, so that meant I got no car and no car seats. And I was like, okay, I'll just get an Uber. Well, I've got no car seats. And I was like, fuck, you know, and just that sickening feeling, because that was the sort of behavior that used to happen in addiction.
Yeah.
You know, just everything would go wrong. You know, and just it was such an important day.
You start having a panic attack.
Yeah, but you know, I think I needed that to happen. I seriously needed it to happen to remind me of what it was like in active addiction and how bad that was. You know, I needed to remember how it felt to let my kids down. I needed to remember how it felt to be so disorganized or be almost running late to school. The amount of times I would call that office and say, I'm just going to be a few minutes late, and that's a feeling of having to do that again almost. Like, it kicked my butt back into gear and made me realize, like, fucking hold on, wait a minute. That's not a feeling I want to have again anytime soon. That's for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first time I had a panic attack because I felt like I was doing an old behavior when I wasn't even trying to,
Yeah.
and it was on my 1 year. It was like 1 year and 1 day sober. And I'm from the East Coast, by like Philadelphia. I grew up minutes from Philadelphia on the East Coast in New Jersey.
Yeah.
But I got sober in California, in Los Angeles. I went to a rehab that, teaches how to use THC as a medicine, and you change your relationship and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I went out there after a 10-year, addiction to opiates, with oxycodone 30s mostly for 10 years. And so I wanted to celebrate. I was there for 4 months and sober living and all that, and I was back, and I'm still doing good. But I wanted to do my 1 year celebration with my friends in AA out there. So I went out there for my 1 year and did all like the chips and all that. They call it birthday cakes, and they literally birthday cakes,
We do that here too.
Yeah, they make a whole big deal. Like Pennsylvania, they give out chips, and they're like, all right, well, sit down. So but in LA, they're like make a whole big deal, blow out a candle and all that shit. Or the really cheap meetings where they can't afford a candle, you just hold the lighter up and then you just blow it. Lighter. That was a really cheap meeting at 11 o'clock at night. At late night, we didn't have the money for a cake. But anyway, I did all that, and I was hanging out with my buddy because I was just like crashing at his house, his apartment that I knew him from rehab, and he had his own place now. And he was at work, and I was trying to find something to do during the day. And I was sitting in the parking lot of his work, which is a grocery store. And I just like got all these feelings of like, I used to sit in parking lots for hours. Waiting for this, like McDonald's. Like I would just sit Walmart.
Car washes. Yeah.
Car washes. That's a good one. No, I didn't think of car washes. No, I hung out like in busy parking lots where cars were constantly in and out, like McDonald's especially, but grocery stores, no one's paying attention. They go right in, they do their shit, they pack up their car up, and they go. So I just started having a panic attack. Yeah. And I was supposed to be there for another 4 days. Nope, I went right to LAX, and I got on the next flight back to Philly.
Yeah.
Fuck this. I changed my flights around. I had to go to San Francisco, then take the red eye. And I didn't care. I just needed to get back and out of that parking lot. And if that meant going back home, then so be it. Like, I felt.
It's not a nice feeling to sit with at all.
No. Now it's easier, to deal with the I wouldn't even call them cravings. It's just reminders, And I feel like, our brain is like a muscle, that needs to be worked out. And it's just a muscle that you don't see, like a bicep or something like that, because, the more you get better at handling something, it strengthens your mind so that that next time it happens, it's easier to go through.
Yeah.
Whenever you I always say sit in the shit. Like, like I run this meeting center, and that's, a popular phrase around here is you got to sit in the shit.
Yeah.
Because you will feel better next time it comes around again. That depression wave comes around. It gets a little bit easier to sit in a depression when you know that last time you got through it in 2 hours. Sit in it again, it gets a little easier. So
definitely moments like that for sure. Yeah.
It's so it don't and how about using dreams? Did you have any using dreams yet?
I still have them so bad, and I think like at the moment, because I'm still going through court, even though I'm getting my home detention off, I'm not sentenced. I'm getting a bail vary. So at the moment, I've got a lot of court cases going on, and a lot of reliving the moments. Like some of it's drug driving, some of it's driving disqualified. Some of it is for my charges at the moment of the break and enter. And, just reliving those things all the time. I find when I'm getting closer to court, I'm having like using dreams, but like a lot of trauma dreams, like where people are getting killed. And like, I think that's just a lot of like, my past coming up, just like where there was bad situations and trauma situations and.
Well, it's the fear. It's like almost like when you get closer to a court, it's like the fear of the unknown. So when
Yeah.
you have fear of the unknown, then your subconscious is going to show you other fears. And
Yeah.
when you're sleeping. So instead of us having nightmares of like a clown popping out at us, they're fucking using dreams. Those are our nightmares. You know,
Yeah.
can you, because I've heard different people say different things. So like, I've heard a lot of people say whenever they had a using dream, they never saw the person's face. You know what I mean? And they never got to do the drug.
Yeah.
And
No,
then
I
for me, I saw my dealer's face. The last using dream I had, I saw his face. It was
yeah.
like the same place it usually is. And I
Yeah.
got the same drugs I usually get. And I did the drugs and I felt high in my dream. And I
Wow.
woke up. I woke up like, holy shit. And actually,
Yeah.
coincidence. I can't be a coincidence. I was like a week away from 9 months, and I had a hearing.
Oh wow.
So it's probably the same as what
I
like
think.
yeah,
Yeah.
because I had a hearing coming up on my 9 month anniversary. I had to go to court um,
Wow.
for being arrested a month before I went to rehab because I had 20 pills on me, and
Oh yeah.
they watched me leave my dealers and they waited for me to be in a school zone and pulled me over there. So but either way, I
Oh
ended up a month that didn't stop me.
yeah.
I was still a month later I went to rehab and I forgot all about that because I went to my first hearing like high as shit actually now that I think about it. And
Yeah.
then I was on the plane to LA and I was like, oh fuck, I got court in 2 weeks. Like I remembered it when I was on the plane. I'd been high every day. And
Yeah.
so when I got there, my, counselor or whatever contacted the court and was like, he's under our care. So you
Yeah.
can't go after him because he's under hospital care technically.
Yeah. That would have helped as well if you caught. Like that would have
So,
helped showing that you want to change.
well, actually, what's funny is when I got to court, I didn't even talk about this. I just did my story. Actually, it comes out on my birthday on the 29th, and I don't think I talked about this. So when I went back to court, they said to me like, where's your lawyer? You got caught with 20 pills
Yeah.
and had an eighth of weed. You didn't have a medical card. I have one now, but I didn't have one then. You
Yeah.
had an eighth of weed. You had paraphernalia. You had so many cut straws. Like,
Yeah.
where's your lawyer? I was like, I don't have a lawyer. They're
Oh
like,
no.
they're like, why not? I'm like, because I'm going to defend myself. I didn't like, I did everything wrong. I was caught.
Yeah.
What's the lawyer going to do for me? And
Yeah.
I was like, talk to the prosecutor. And they're like, okay, you know what you're facing, right? You were in a school zone with. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
fine. Let me just talk to the prosecutor. And the prosecutor is like, so you don't want a lawyer? And I was like, no, it's okay. Like, you can give me drug court. Whatever you got to do, I'll do it. She was
Yeah.
like, what? I was like, you can give me drug court. Today's my 9 month sober anniversary. Like, I'm going to pass all your drug tests. It's completely fine.
Yeah.
You can do
Yeah.
whatever you got to do to me. I deserve it. I did it. I know what I did wrong. She was like, oh, why are you taking so long to come back? Did you go to rehab? Did we ask you to go to rehab and you went to rehab? And I was like, actually, no. I kind of forgot about this. And
Yeah.
then I was, on my way to rehab and I remembered, but
Yeah.
I didn't go there because of you guys. Honestly, this had nothing to do with it. I wasn't done doing drugs when you guys arrested me. I went and bought more, and I was still going for another 3 weeks before I went to rehab,
Yeah.
honestly. So no, you guys had nothing to do with me going to rehab. She was
Yeah.
like, oh, like scratching her head, like that is the most honest answer anyone like could have given me. Let me
Yeah.
go talk to the judge, and then came back. She was like, yeah, we're not going to put you in drug court because you're going to pass all the tests. You actually
Yeah.
want to be sober. You went to rehab on your own. We're going to give you $800 in fines and let you go.
Oh, that's so
So
good.
yeah, I ended up getting charged with like misdemeanor, having 20 unidentifiable blue pills and a
Wow.
green leafy substance. And
That's
because I
lucky.
mean, yeah, it's definitely some of it's white privilege. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm not
Yeah.
gonna, if I was African American, I would be so in jail. Let's be
Yeah.
real. So
Yeah.
especially with priors, like, because I did have priors for theft.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so I did get lucky, and it was some of that, but it was also I was working a program, and I was
Yeah.
completely honest with them, and I
Yeah.
told them, throw the book at me. It's not gonna matter. I'm gonna pass all your tests. I'm gonna stay
Yeah.
sober. They're like, why are we
Yeah.
gonna put you in the system and just wasting our time? You're just gonna keep passing
Exactly.
the
And it
test.
could be somebody that really needs it could be doing that.
Exactly. That's basically what she was saying. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's how I celebrated my 9 months without a
Yeah.
lawyer. Because
Yeah.
a lawyer would
Well,
have spent 10 grand and he would have told me, got me the same shit anyway,
yeah, exactly.
and I would have gave
Exactly.
him 10 grand to find out the same information.
Yeah, exactly. That's so good.
So like when I know that he wasn't going to be able to help me, only hurt me, I was just like, yeah, I don't want a
Yeah.
lawyer. Like he
Yeah.
might say it wrong, I don't know,
Yeah,
but
see, that's the one thing I don't like that frustrates me, sometimes is like you know, I wish sometimes I could just tell my story, but I've been pretty lucky because I've had the same judge for months now, so he's actually seen me, turning up on time, looking respectful, like he even said to me, he's like, you're not a criminal, like you're not, I don't want to have to put you back in jail, so that's one positive thing that he said that. I feel like when it comes to court, like I'm probably going to be okay. Like, well, but regardless, even if I'm not, like I've said to my mum, if worst comes to worst, if I do go back to jail, like of course I'll care about being away from my kids. That's something different this time. I love my kids. I care about my kids, but I was that fucked up when I first went in. Like I wasn't even comprehending what my kids were going through at that time. Where this time that would really affect me. But at the same time, I know I'm going to come out better than what I did when I first went in, anyways. So like that's something I'm prepared for if that was to be a situation.
yeah,
Um,
for sure.
like jail was a blessing in disguise for me.
Now,
It
have
really,
you started any kind of program since like you were in and out, like AA
yeah,
or anything?
yeah. So I started NA.
Okay.
Um, at the very start when I first got out, I was like, this will look good for court, but now I like live, breathe, fucking eat shit, everything NA, like I'm so thankful for NA. You can do NA or you can really do NA. You can get it done and you can go to meetings and sit in a chair, or you can do the 12-step program and you can change your life. You can find a new way to live. And that's one thing I'm so thankful for with NA. Like, this is where I went wrong every other time I tried to get clean. I didn't deal with the problem. I didn't deal with what was going on in my life. I didn't deal with the emotions and the trauma and the regret, where NA's bringing all that up. After every step I do, I feel that little bit more free.
Yeah.
Like it's such a hard feeling to explain, but like it's just so much more freedom and like, just being so connected to my higher power now. I feel so much more connected and like there's nothing in this life that I don't feel like I can't get through. It's even, and now it's like even being like, even my daughter obviously sees it and feels it because now she's even started having so much more faith. Like she hurt her bum at school the other week and she had Olympics Day coming up. And she's been panicking and panicking because she's like, what about if my bum's still sore on Olympics Day, And I'm like, you'll be fine. We'll get through it. And I started walking away. And then all of a sudden she's like, well, we can pray for it. And I was like, oh, wow, like just knowing that she has that faith and now she has those skills to have faith in a higher power to help her get through life situations, it's a good feeling.
For sure.
Even now, yeah, even like now and then my son, he, like my kids have never been exposed to drugs, they've never seen it. They don't know what it is. But sometimes, when I'm feeling like I really need a meeting, like sometimes my son has sat in and been near me when I've been doing meetings. And now it gets to the point where like he'll take us out with the serenity prayer. He's only 5, but
That's
just
so
having,
cute.
yeah, he will do the whole like God, and
Yeah.
it's just a good feeling, seeing my kids, not just have I changed, but like my kids have changed, like my kids have gone through a lot of trauma. I won't say what, but it's a very personal thing. But they went through a really, really hard time, and our trust was broken, and my kids really struggled to like deal with their emotions. And with me just being off doing what I was doing, I couldn't even deal with my own emotions. So obviously, how can I expect my kids to?
Yeah.
But since getting clean, not it's only my better, but so my kids, like they're completely different people, like I love my kids, but when I got clean, I fell in love with my kids all over again. Like I felt that love and I felt that connection. And, you know, just the last couple months, like, they're completely different kids. They have no fear. They're not scared anymore. You know, they're happy, they're excited. They've got techniques of getting through their day, you know, and it's all because of the fact of me and what I've been doing, you know. It's just made our life just so much more better and our relationship so much better. And, like, you know, they've just gone through so much. And, you know, as a mum, letting go of the trauma and the shit that we've put them through is so hard to do. But, you know, if it's only been because of NA and having the steps and having the program, have I actually been able to let go? You know, I can actually talk about this now without crying. You know, I could never do that. You know, like, I understand what I've put them through. I understand what their life has been like, you know, for their whole life so far. They've only known an addiction mother, you know, but now they have the best version of me. And, you know, I'm going to make sure it stays that way. You know, every day I'm making amends to them just by staying clean. You know, like, I'm not frustrated at them anymore. You know, they're not a burden. They're not in my way. You know, like, and it's hard for me to say that. You know, no mum wants to admit that, you know, they push their kids away or that their kids were a burden to their lifestyle. But, you know, sometimes I need to say that out loud to remind myself of how bad of a mum I was.
I would say
Yeah.
lost. I would say lost of a mom. I wouldn't say bad. I would say lost. You know, because you know, yeah, you know, you had them in situations that, you know, a lot of moms don't, but I wouldn't still say bad because you still had their intentions in mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, I would say more like a lost mom.
Yes.
You know, that
I
became
was
a mom at a young age. You were what, 18, and how old was the second one? 21, 22?
Yeah, spot on.
So
You know,
you're like
and like,
27 now.
yeah, and like the way I think to myself is like, when I first picked up, I was a kid, you know, so I've only ever known an addiction lifestyle. So now that I've stopped, I feel like I've had to take back off since being 15 years old again.
That's what
You
it
know,
is.
like,
Your maturity
yeah,
level, it stopped right there, and now it's starting all
yeah,
over again. And you're gonna
yeah.
learn, you know, and you're just still like, there's a little pink cloud right above your head right now, and it's adorable. And you know, like, you know, 6 months in, that pink cloud is going strong.
Yeah,
And the important thing is to stick with it, because when the pink cloud does break, because life does happen, and it
yes.
will, you just need to have the program, and need to have a program, need to have support where you can feel comfortable going, because most people will tell you they relapse in their head before they actually put a needle in their arm or before they sniff
Yeah,
something again. They'll relapse
yes.
up here. They're going to stop going to meetings. They're going to stop calling sponsors. They're going to just start disengaging from the program, stop just calling friends from the program. And when you don't hear from them for like a week or two, you kind of know what's up.
Yeah, like, even just already being so early in recovery, like, I've already seen that. Like, I've actually seen that happen already, you know, that exact what you're explaining. Like, I've witnessed that already with a couple people, you know. And these people, like, it's scary because, you know, one of them had like 2.5 years up, you know, and it still got to that point. And, you know, one of my close friends, you know, he had like a good 5 or so years up, you know, and he just, you know, he's done the same thing, stopped going to meetings, thought he could drink alcohol, you know, and all of a sudden it's back to square one, you know, like, and you know, it sucks that these things happen, but, you know, just like, I'm not thankful for people relapsing when they're at such a clean time, but sometimes it's good to hear it because it makes me realize how easy it is for that to happen, you know, like on nights where I don't feel like going to a meeting. And like, you know, my mum will even be like, nope, get ready, you're going, you know, like, because she knows that I feel so much better for it. And, you know, like, I know I need it too. You know,
So,
like, I need these
yeah.
things in place.
Yeah, I would say one, they are teaching you lessons that you didn't want them to teach you.
Yeah.
And two, those meetings that you don't want to go to, that you begrudgingly go to, are always the best meeting. And you walk out of there saying, oh, I needed that. That's exactly
Yes,
what I needed.
I do that every time. Like, that's why my mum pushes me to. Whenever I say, I don't really feel like going, you know, like, it's the first share I hear will always be so relatable to what's going on at that time, you know, and I'll be like, I'm so thankful I'm here, you know.
You forget all about, and it would just, it's not like you didn't want to go to the meeting. It was just like you didn't want to get up. You
Yeah,
didn't want to have
like,
to go
getting
anywhere.
ready, especially because they're at nighttime, you know, and after being like a mum and doing, you know, mum duties and stuff, you know, it can be pretty hard to, you know, want to go out when you normally be getting in bed. You know, but like, I have a pretty good program at the moment. Like, every morning, you know, I feel like to myself, like I was actively using every single day, all day. So I'm going to put in recovery to my life every single day, all day, like, so every morning I wake up, I get the kids ready, get them to school. And then my first meeting starts at 9:30 in the morning normally, like, so I will be straight away on a Zoom meeting every day, without a doubt. I don't care what the day is like. I could be out shopping and I've got my earphones in. I'm going to make sure I'm going to get that morning Zoom, because then that's how the rest of my day is going to be set out. Like, yep. If I hear recovery as soon as I wake up, recovery is going to be in my day all day, so like I do that. I do a meeting every single day. I go to drug and alcohol counseling. I go to a face-to-face meeting once a week. I contact my sponsor, and I love the feeling, even though I'm so early in recovery and I don't have a whole lot to give to other people, but I love being open about my recovery. Like, even just on my Facebook stuff, it was a hard tablet to swallow, with that whole pride and being open to what I've gone through and stuff. But, every day I would sell drugs. I would give people their first drug. I would be the person that would help contribute to them ruining their life, whether it was me or somebody else. But, deep down, I know that I was part of that. So, now being open about my recovery on my own social media, the amount of people that have contacted me, and now the amount of people that I used to sell drugs to that come to NA or get on NA meetings now, it's such a good feeling. And I love being able to now help other people, like I've gone from being the most junkiest mother, like being, literally like I was a junkie of a mother, like my decisions, my lifestyle, my parenting, my, people coming in and out of the house, like I have literally gone from being a junkie doing break and enters, across the road from my own house, my kids are asleep, like a full-blown junkie, to now, a mum that, no matter how bad it is, I'm getting through. Like I've been putting on weight. My life is so much healthier. My relationship's so much better, with my kids and just my friends and my family. I have good friends in my life, like I have actual friends, not just people that want something from me.
Yeah, exactly.
But like it's such a change, and being able to like show people that is such a good feeling, because if I never heard about NA and I never saw people doing recovery in my life, and never saw things on Facebook about recovery. So now being able to put that in and show other people that, you can also do it, like it's just an amazing feeling being able to help others. Like that's one thing that's really helping my recovery. I've got a good program helping other people, reminding myself every day what it used to be like, sitting in them uncomfortable feelings of, dysfunctional or unorganized for that day. I need those things in my life to remind me what it was like, and I'm like, one thing I want to say as well, I absolutely take my hat off to so many people that go into the rooms, go into recovery willingly, like you're going to rehab willingly, you've done that for you. Like I couldn't do that. It literally took me going to jail to realize I needed to get clean. And I take my hat off to so many people, because it does happen. So many people these days do go get help. They do get into rehabs. They do go into the rooms, just because they want to get help. They want to get their life better. And I just think that that's so amazing. Like I take my hat off to every single one of those people. Yeah, it's just something I couldn't do.
Yeah, I mean, you get it when you get it. That's the most important thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You don't even feel bad about it. So like, and the best part is you're living it. You know what I mean? You're living your amends. You're doing it. You're doing the work, and you're showing others that the work can be done. So it doesn't matter if you have 6 months, because at 6 months you can help somebody with 5 months, help somebody with 4 or 3. So just keep on doing it, like, and keep on posting about it on Facebook, being open. I'll let you know when this is up. It'll probably be like sometime like next week or this week. I have so many, but still, either way, I'll shoot you a message when it's going up. Like you see my posts every day. I have a new episode.
Yeah,
so,
I
you know what I mean?
in bed last night, and it's amazing. Like I just love hearing other people's stories. Like it's just such a good, just knowing, that there's other little junkie mothers out there that were junkies once a time.
Exactly. But
that's
thank you.
I like that.
I appreciate it. I got to do another meeting now. I got to go. I have a meeting in 5 minutes. So my last meeting of the day.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to do mine. You're going to do yours. But awesome. I appreciate you so much. And you're killing it. Keep doing what you're doing, because you're on the right track.
Yeah, trying.
Thank you. I'll talk to you.
All right. Thanks. See ya. Bye.
See ya.